Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from astrolada.com here with a much younger Trifon, our astrologer Trifon Nikolov.
Hello, without a doubt.
He's missing his beard. What is happening? You look at least 15 years younger now. And Trifon is going to lead us through the astrology of the next lunar month, which just started basically till December 26th when the next eclipse is. And before we start, I want to announce that just for once, just for the next 10 days, Trifon is offering, because the year 2020 is coming, a 1 hour personal horoscope with him for 40% discount, only for $120. You can get 60 minutes with Trifon talking about the year 2020 in your personal horoscope. So prediction ahead. Do book now. Maybe it will take a month for Trifon to finish all the readings, because when he makes such announcement, such big discounts, usually 100 people come and order. But yeah, do get your 2020 horoscope with our amazing Sidereal, Vedic, ancient astrology expert Trifon. So Trifon, can you tell us what 2019 December, basically the lunar month that started, will be all about?
Hello, everyone. So, let's comment on December. First, I will start with what I saw in the sky when the moon first appeared after the conjunction with the sun. So, most of you already know that this is considered to be the real beginning of the lunar month in ancient times, when the first visibility of the first moon crescent is appearing before sunset in the sky, and it was a very beautiful thing to see. The moon was there right above very bright Venus, and to the right, again below the moon, was already not so bright in its light, Jupiter. So it was a visible conjunction of the moon with Venus and Jupiter.
Yay.
Yeah. So, and this is happening in the sidereal sign, the constellation of Sagittarius. This is how the ancients are seeing things directly in the sky among the stars that are represented. But even though this combination seems to be very lucky, in fact, it is not.
Mm.
Yes.
Full of joy as always. Good
Yes.
news.
So I know many astrologers, I think, made the mistake to comment that this conjunction of Jupiter and Venus that was happening will be very positive, and the events showed that it was not. And I will now explain why, and also I will explain how this is affecting the month ahead till the time before Christmas. Okay, so this is because first, there is something happening in this moment that is called a planetary war. The exact conjunction of the planets, for example, in the Vedic astrology tradition, is considered to be like a conflict between the planets. Uh, and in this case, Jupiter and Venus were there, and they are considered in the tradition of Vedic astrology to be enemies. And when planets who are enemies, when they meet in the sky, in fact, they are producing a kind of crisis. When they are Jupiter and Venus, usually it's a kind of conflict between the spiritual and material world. It's not usually something very harsh, but still is not very pleasant experience. And in this way, this conjunction of the Moon with Venus and Jupiter shows exactly this for the month. There will be widespread, I can say, spiritual problems, or people will be in their lives like in conflicts between the spiritual values and the material values. And this can also lead, when Jupiter and Venus are, I have seen in the past, are together, they can lead, for example, to debt. Because the touch of Jupiter to the planet of finances, Venus, can make people to go beyond their limits financially, for example, or if you have to follow some spiritual rules, Venus, which is the planet of desires, can cause that those desires will go over and through those laws, spiritual laws, and this is the nature of the conflicts happening. And the moon is not making things better there. This is very clearly seen of the situation if we put this whole combination that is happening in Sagittarius, if we accept it as ascendant, as a first house of a chart, then we will see how Venus will be ruling the sixth house, which is the house of enemies in ancient tradition. So Venus is acting here as a bad guy. And the other bad guy is the moon, because the moon in this combination will be the ruler of the eighth house. So in this way, it will be seen how Jupiter is suffering under this combination. And it was very clearly seen in the sky that the moon is the most powerful in the combination because it was above Venus and Jupiter. So she was more stronger, conquering them. And she's the ruler of the eighth house. So all those things that I mentioned can be, in fact, very critical, can bring greater crisis. And in this way, the striving to have good things in our lives can lead us in a crisis this month.
It's kind of a bit of an over consumerism and an overindulgence type of thing.
Yeah. Of course, this combination has also some good effects. So it's not only bad things here.
It's good for party.
Good for party, to enjoy, to go to extremes in enjoying life. That
Yeah.
have to be repaid later, of course. But it is there, this feeling of Jupiter with Venus that you enjoy to the best possible way. So.
But if you're trying to do a fasting and a prayer, so you keep thinking of turkey and wine and being
Yes,
tempted.
it will be needed a very good spiritual level to do that. So also, this reminds me that this month will test us, of course, for those things. And for anyone who is needing some more understanding about those topics, he will receive it in one way or the other, of course. And however, my opinion in general for this month is that it will be a difficult month. And it is not only because of this combination that I saw there, but also because of some other celestial events that are about to take place. And they're about to happen immediately. What I mean is that today, in the more southern parts of Europe and USA, and on the longitude of New York tomorrow, and where I am in Florida, this will be on 11th of December. So what will happen is that Jupiter will be disappearing from the sky. Jupiter becomes invisible.
Someone's gonna die. No, I shouldn't laugh, but usually I've learned when you talk about the disappearance of planets that last time Jupiter disappeared, and you said someone very rich or wealthy will die or will leave this earth, and the richest woman in the world died back then, I remember.
Yes, this was my prediction before some time, and I think that the owner of L'Oreal died.
Yeah, that was a year ago, something like that.
Yes, now we have similar situation. Jupiter is setting in as an evening star, which makes his nature more feminine. And so in this way, we can really expect that some rich woman maybe will have great difficulties and even can pass away. And this is exactly these days. But this is a side effect of the setting of Jupiter. In fact, the setting of Jupiter has personal effect for every one of us. And this is that he's ruling some houses in everyone's horoscope where Sagittarius and Pisces are posited. And those houses are about to start to suffer right now. So, especially this is more difficult for the people who are ruled by Jupiter. Luckily for many people, Jupiter represents some dignitaries, people who are more wealthy, more lucky, so to say, and also religious persons. So people of spirituality too. So all those people can have at this moment achievement because this is an end of a cycle and it can give achievement.
The rewards of the actions, the rewards.
Yes. So right now we can see noble actions, striving for good, hearing the truth, and right after that we can see also the disappearing of those things. And people who are ruled by Jupiter, they will have some more difficult time. It's not something unusual, by the way. It's happening every year, so you don't need to be afraid too much or something like that. It's happening every year, but this is the moment when you can feel like weaker and having more problems. I mean, the people ruled by Jupiter, having, for example, ascendant Sagittarius and Pisces. In my opinion, this is Sidereal Astrologer. Most of the people in Western astrology with this combination, they consider that they have rising sign Aries or Capricorn. So I'm talking for them too. And so Jupiter disappearing means also lack of protection, because Jupiter is the planet that gives balance and protects from evil. And this is really not good, because when Jupiter is not present in the sky, and the situation in general for the world is more difficult, more exposed to dangers of different kinds. And so Jupiter will be invisible around a month, I can say, even more, depending where you are. And as you can see, this is important, but it's not only Jupiter that will be disappearing this month. So we are heading towards a period when 3 planets will be invisible, which was so in the summer. And the summer was difficult in general, but there we got invisibility of Venus, of Mars, and Mercury. Here we'll have the invisibility of Jupiter, then of Saturn, around 20th of December. Saturn is setting too. And exactly on the next day, 21st, Mercury is setting. So half of the people who are ruled, all the people who are ruled by Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter will enter a little bit more difficult time in this moment. For example, also we can expect troubles for people who are connected. Like Saturn, when Saturn is disappearing, it gives usually problems for the poor people, the people of low social status. So we will see crises with them around 20th of December. And of course, this is a bad time for people who are poor, right on Christmas and New Year celebrations. And Saturn will be there invisible till some moment in February, depending where you live. And Mercury will be invisible till 25th of January, I think. So that's why my general opinion is forced to be not so positive about this month. I will tell you which are the good days, and I will tell you also if Christmas is good day according to the celestial combinations, and if the New Year celebration is good. But it is clear that for everyone will feel this because the rulers of 6 houses of everyone's chart will be invisible and weak, which means half of what we have in general in our lives will have some problems.
What I've always noticed is when they become invisible, it's like this area becomes less active and it's harder to manifest externally. While internally, you can have a lot of realizations about those areas of your life, but it's hard to make things happen there because it's invisible, the planet that rules it. And it's kind of almost like going a bit into hibernation while the planet, in those areas of their lives, while the planet is.
Yes, yes, different opinions. The planets will be not visible, they're literally not present from our point of view, and they are not acting. So the principles of Jupiter, so this is morality, honesty, protection from evil. Saturn also represents security and also represents our healthy limits that we can have. So also Saturn represents, the lack of Saturn represents a time without limits. So this can be something good for some, but also it can be something really bad. Because it also shows us a kind of lack of protection, like the wall of the castle is destroyed.
Mm.
Uh,
What
and
about because Saturn is also suffering and pain? Can it mean that it's lack of that?
no, no, the weak Saturn is exactly the epitome of suffering.
Okay, so it's
Because
gap. Oh, okay.
yes, because Saturn is protection and limitations, also limitation against troubles. And when he's disappearing, of course, this opens the door, so to say, to whatever is outside there to enter. So
Oh. And what about karmic duty? Can it be like the end of some responsibility or duty for someone? Or?
yes, this is a kind of culmination of the cycle of Saturn for the year. And when Saturn is setting, I have noticed that just before he disappears, because he is the planet of justice, much connected with justice at least. There is difference of opinion about that. Some ancient astrologers considered the Sun to be the main planet of justice. But Saturn is also specifically connected with that because it is exalted in Libra, the sign of balance, when balance is created. And in this way, now Saturn making a phase and disappearing, he will give balance, and in this way, he will give justice to things. This means that the bad people whose karma is ready, they will they will have what they deserve. So we will see how some very bad people, some criminals, are either sentenced or are dying.
Ooh, karmic payback.
Around 20th of December. Yes. And so we can predict also death of such people. And exactly on the next day when Mercury is setting, we can predict that there is a high probability of death of some eminent intellectual figure, like a writer, for example, around that time. So in this way, you can see how the disappearing of the planets literally means fading away of power for some time. On the other hand, what you said about the spiritual value of the invisible planets, this is exactly so, because the planets are becoming invisible because they are going too close to the sun, which is the spiritual center. And in a way, they have done their job for the year, and they're going, according to the ancients, on the council of the gods. So to receive some spiritual information and tasks. And of course, on spiritual level, this will be a very active time for everyone, giving new understanding and new directions. First inside of everyone, and later, when the planets again appear, there will be the new beginning, the new task starting. So we are in a time of endings and waiting later for new beginnings. So this is about the invisible planets. They will have many other effects, of course. However, let's see what else is happening there.
We should just check out for Christmas and New Year and a bit of January.
Okay. Okay. Now I remember that I didn't comment that in November Mercury rised with Mars. Just to make short comment, when Mercury rised with Mars, this was really bad because Mercury was corrupted by the presence of Mars, and many of us had problems. And depending on the house positions and rulerships of those planets for everyone. And on mundane level, we saw that people signified by Mercury, like intellectuals, but also noble people like princes, got great troubles. Prince Andrew, I mean.
Yes,
So now,
he stepped down from being a prince, his royal duties, because of the
yes,
scandal.
yes, exactly. Mars, this rising of Mercury was in Libra. Mars was there. Libra is connected with all those things that he is accused for. And this was the result. Mars is, of course, the destroying power, the combination. So, however, there will be no lack of spiritual power after all in this month. For example, on the 12th of December, a spiritual star is rising, and it's an important day when we can recharge on spiritual level or make some spiritual activity. It is also a good day for starting healing practices, which is very important. Because the star that is rising in that moment, it is considered also to be, of course, when it is a spiritual power, it is also helping about healing. So 12th of December is such a moment. And let's say now about also 8th of December, before the 12th, we have special combination. Venus is with another spiritual star. You can see it easily almost always. This is because it never sets. This is the star Vega. So Venus with Vega is forming a very strong spiritual combination. We can see how these days between 8th and 12th of December are important about healing, about spiritual practices. And Venus with Vega is considered to form a very powerful spiritual combination that is happening only once in the year with this combination. So we can use it, definitely. So, of course, especially this will be stronger for people who are ruled by Venus somehow, like artists, beautiful people too. It's good day about love, of course. And the combination is very special because Venus is there not alone, but also Saturn is close. And ancient text coming from Egyptian priests is accentuating upon the spiritual power of Venus being with such a star and Saturn being close. Even people, especially women who are born on this day, will have some stronger spiritual powers and understanding. So especially a good day for spirituality, in first place for women, but not only. Not only. And after that, on 11th of December, we have Mercury with some stars that have healing powers. So we can see how those days between 8th, 11th, and 12th are really, really powerful about that. So whoever needs to start something new on spiritual or about healing level, these are the moments. Then, of course, there will be the moon, the full moon, according to the ancient way. It is in Taurus, and it is quite beneficial regarding finances, for example, and everything that's related, like enjoyment and good life in general. However, the period that includes Christmas days is happening to be not good from astrological point of view. This is so because this is exactly the moment when the moon is entering its black phase, and more so it is in Scorpio. So the moon gets both debilitated, which means weak and bad, and at the same time invisible, which is also problematic. So Christmas days are somehow more difficult days when we can be more exhausted and having different kinds of troubles, especially with women. Like, let's say that in that time, mothers, grandmothers in our families can have more problems. But in general, we can be also more exhausted. And I think it's not a good idea to travel exactly on those days between 23rd and 25th. It's much better to travel a couple of days before. And what I mean is around 19th to 21st. These are the good combinations for traveling. Later, with this moon, probably there can be troubles because the moon is problematic, and at the same time Mercury is disappearing and forming problematic combination about traveling and about communication. So I expect that this will be days that will be difficult in every way related to transportation. So including there can be some dangers. However, I can say some good things for the New Year night, luckily, because in that time the combination between the sun and the moon is very favorable, and I think that the New Year celebrations will be very good, unlike those on Christmas. So better to plan big party to meet the New Year, so to say. There we will have really success. The moon will be growing in light in the sign of friendship and group events, so it will be really good, I think, for everyone. Yeah. So in general, I can say, of course, much more things, but this is the main information that you need for the month. The more positive sides will come later in January, in the second half, and in February when the planets will appear again in the sky.
They'll become visible. So what I would say, probably leave people with the message is that through December gradually and part in January, they should take it probably a bit easier. Should maybe new ideas will come to them internally and not start them before the planet starts appearing again towards the end of January and February.
Yeah, so obviously now everyone will exhaust himself so much on every level, so there will be lack of activity in January.
Yes. Good. So I'm not going to be getting on anyone's asses if they're becoming a bit more, disappearing. And so I'll keep this in mind as well. So yeah, sleep more, take better care of yourself. Don't overexert yourself.
Yes, try to be somehow more conservative is obviously the conclusion with the disappearing of the planets. This is a good advice.
Good. Thank you.
Try not to go over your limits, because right now this will be bad.
Beautiful message. And if you'd like a personal reading with Trifon, it's 40% off for the next 10 days. For 2020 reading, it's only $120 for a whole hour with him. Thank you so much, Trifon, again. Looking forward, actually not so looking forward to this month, but looking forward to see you next time.
Yes, there will be a prediction for the next year somewhere in the month. So expect this new video that is coming.
Oh, exciting. I can't wait. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.